Today, we go behind the scenes at the HLG research facility to show what sets them apart in an industry flooded with misinformation and expensive brand names. Let GrowMau5 explain what HLG does better and show you real-world results.
Hey, so glad to have GrowRebates here in the house. This is the HLG, one of the HLG facilities here in Maynardville, Tennessee, where we test the lights, we test different spectra. We're growing a lot of different CBD, we're growing THCA and other things that our local laws allow, but we're seeing how our theories on lighting actually transmit into how we grow this plant. We're growing cannabis sativa, cannabis indica hybrids. It is low THC varieties, but we're doing the same species of plant with the CBD, so we can test our theories and see how that all works out. The LED grow light market isn't the market of 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So when you have an idea or a theory about a diode or about spectra, you can do the math, do the spreadsheets. That's get you so far, but we find that you really have to get in there and test it. And we've worked with a lot of growers in the past getting data from them, but their primary directive is to grow the plant, grow the bud, grow the business. We need daily data, we need test data, we need yield data, we need to be able to test different spectra in a highly controlled environment so that we can isolate variables based on our theories. So this room that I'm about to take you in is a 20 light Scorpion Diablo light with our latest diode. This is for many of you out there in listener land that are familiar with top bin diodes, the longer an LED company runs a diode model, their yield of high output diodes becomes higher and higher and higher to the point of where you get something above top bin, and that's what we have here. Essentially, its claim to fame is in the blue, the high energy blue wavelengths. It's traditional to have a 450 nanometer spike, but with this diode, it kind of has this double bubble effect. It's a 435 nanometer and a 450 nanometer spike, so you get a little bit more high energy. And so our theory is, can we still get the bud size, the bud density, but then also increase quality without introducing the additional cost of like a UV bar or something like that. So if you're ready, I'll take you on in. So you guys are in a 24 foot by 24 foot room with 20 of the Scorpion Diablos with the newest spec diode. They've also got the Osram 616 nanometer reds. The control is all Trollmaster. We've got CO2 enrichment in here, 6 tons of mini split, and 5 of the Hurricane 20-inch fans. The strain is all Bordeaux, running on 5 Botanicare rolling tables that are 4 feet by 18.5 feet. If you include the walkways, each of the Scorpion Diablos is covering a 4.6 wide by 5 feet space. So we're getting 22, 23 square foot of coverage at around 1150 micromoles is what we're running right now, 1500 parts per million CO2. This canopy here, very happy with the way it turned out, very even canopy. We're running, this particular room here is just a simple flood and drain room. This facility is about 3 or 4 months old, and it's a way that you can get a room up really quickly, really inexpensively, and I'm very, very happy with this room. Well, for me, I go for coverage. These days, I'm looking for a 5 by 5 spread. Even though we're only doing about 4.5 by 5, I don't want to put in 30 outlets. I don't want to pay an electrician to do that. I don't want to service 30 lights if they need service. So I'm looking for the most powerful, widest spread light possible so I can reduce the amount of fixtures, reduce the electrical contractor cost, and have less actual units to service in the event of something happening way down the road. The thing I like about the HLG Scorpion Diablo, even before I worked with HLG, was we're building them right here in Tennessee. So I know where the factory is. If there's ever any problem, I'm not shipping it back in a container to China or dealing with some kind of import company. We're using the above the top bin genuine Samsungs and an Osram red diodes, Meanwell drivers carrying a 7-year warranty on them. They integrate beautifully with every lighting controller that I've ever used. I'm happening to use the Trollmaster with their 0 to 10 adapter here, and I'm running 20 lights, no problem. And I also look for something, I want something efficient so that I'm not spending too much electricity in my air conditioning heat. I want to be creating more photons, less heat, and that's what we're getting here with the Scorpion Diablo. Let me bring you guys into a couple more rooms. Let me bring you into a room with this exact same strain. We'll just fast forward time in a time machine, and I'll get you to flush, so you can kind of see where we end up. Come on into this room here. This room is 50 days in. We're in flush. We've been in flush now for a few days, about 3 days. This particular type of THCA strain is a really quick strain, so it kind of enters into a senescent state on its own. So you're going to see, we like to flush like crazy here. We like to flush. We want to have the sweetest tasting bud that you can have. You know, even though it's THCA, we still want to have that grape or that cherry flavor that this strain brings out. So come on in here. This is such a quick strain, it's hard to believe that if that's at day 30 and this is day 50, a mere 20 days and they're going to be like this. And this, I'll show you another room after this to show you how big they actually end up after that week of flush. A lot of people think that flush is just to get the fertilizer out of the bud, but they continue growing and swelling, and it is a time where I like to start to tail off on the PPFD and the lighting. I like to start to tail off on the CO2 especially, and drop the temperature so I can preserve some of the terpenes, but they're still growing in terms of girth and in terms of density. I want these plants to eat all the nutrients out of the bud. Now it's a tightrope, because you don't want to flush so hard that all your tiny leaves turn yellow, because then your trimmers are going to hate you. But you want to get all those nutrients out of the leaves and out of the buds so that you can have that terpene profile really be expressed when you go to ignite it or vape it. This particular run, we has about an extra week of veg. So you got the flamingo leg syndrome. We stripped them way up. Now we have about 2 feet of canopy. Of actual bud canopy, just because these plants are a little higher, they are a little bit closer to the lights. But yeah, I mean, lollipopping is one of the things that you get very nervous about when you first start growing, because you think you're taking all the bud away and destroying it, but you're just reallocating the energy. That's how our bottom buds in the end, in the shade, end up with some chunk to them and some mass. You know, we're not growing popcorn and we're not growing larf here. You end up with a higher yield, you end up with bigger quality buds that nobody's going to be disappointed when they pull that out of the jar or the bag. And your trimmers, you know, they're not just having to sit here and micro-trim larf or popcorn buds. So yeah, we lollipop them up pretty good. With the Scorpion Diablos, we've got the Scorpion Diablos. They started at roughly 3 feet above the canopy. Obviously the canopy's kind of come up into it. It's about 2 feet away from the canopy, but we're still getting penetration at 4 feet into the canopy. So I mean, I dare you to find a popcorn bud or a piece of larf anywhere in this canopy. You know, I always liked running the lights a little bit further away. I get a better spread. This light is now contributing to all the trays, all the adjacent trays, and I'm still getting 1100 ppfd at 24 to 30 inches from the canopy. It's as much power as I can handle. The big trick to my job is keeping up the nutrition and the environment when you're turbocharging a plant from a lighting perspective, you know? I'm really happy with this run. For a CBD strain and a THCA strain, bud size is great, great trikes, great aroma. We're using some strategies in here where we're dropping the nighttime temperatures, we're reducing CO2, we're reducing PPFD in these final couple weeks. They've been on freshwater now for 9 days, so you know we're fully senescent. Our fan leaves are basically almost falling off, but we preserve the green in all the small leaves in and around the buds so that the trimmers don't hate us. So once we pluck off all these leaves, you know, dry this out, pluck off all the leaves, we'll have a great finished product. It's got a little purple to it and a little bit of a dry cherry wine kind of terpene profile to it. So we'll go ahead and hang dry for about 7 days, test the moisture of the bud, determine when it's ready to go into cure, and we cure as we trim. So we'll buck all the bud off the stems and get it into a curing vessel, and we'll be burping that several times a day as the trimmers are kind of going through it and processing it. And then once we've got an appropriate moisture content, we've got a good aroma, we'll send it off to market for sale. These buds turned out phenomenal. We got all the senescent leaf off of there. Now, a lot of growers do like to dry with the fan leaves on. You know, for us and our operation and trim crew, we like to pull the leaves. We're still getting a 7-day dry. We're still getting nice smooth smoke and even dry on this. And it's, you know, with this particular run, you know, we ended up with between 4 and 6 kind of main stalks, and due to that lollipop and that flamingo leg, we harnessed all our energy, you know, that coupled with the Scorpion Diablo and its light penetration. Even the lowers are dense and they're chunky, and so it's going to be really easy on the trim crew, and I think all the people that end up purchasing this product are going to have hard nugs. For this facility, it's entirely outfitted with the Scorpion Diablo with the new chip, and it has that additional blue in it. What I've always heard, read, known, and experienced is that, yeah, blue does bring the quality of the flower, the trikes, but you take a hit on yield, you take a hit on density, you have smaller popcorn buds. So what we have proved to ourselves and hope to prove to the world here is that you can use that bluer light, a little bit more proportional bluer light in a flowering light, even though these lights will go full spectrum, and we do use them for veg, but you still get large size colas, you still get large density, you still get great penetration. You can look anywhere here on my wall. This is, we don't take the small buds and put them anywhere separate. This is all the buds.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, they're all like,
are there some smaller buds way down low? Yes, but you feel them. They're still dense. They're still sellable as, you know, top shelf product, and you don't have to put them in the bargain bin or put them into pre-rolls.
Right.
And that's what we're getting with the Scorpion Diablos is that light penetration, that perfect spectrum for what we're trying to do, and we couldn't be happier with it. And we couldn't be more confident that it's going to be right for the customer.